If you ever get pregnant, you will cry more than the baby, said the old woman, her wrinkled finger raised as if she had spoken a prophecy. The words clung to the air like smoke, curling around the ears of those who heard them. Nana had been standing near the water's edge that evening, washing her scarf when the words fell upon her. She laughed, tossed her head backward, and let her long hair spill down her shoulders like a silken curtain. Old women always mutter such things, Nana whispered to herself, dismissing the warning as if it were nothing more than the croak of a frog at night. Nana was beautiful, so beautiful that even the wind seemed to pause and circle her face before moving on. Her eyes were wide and shining, her skin soft and glowing, her lips full and red like ripened fruit. Everywhere she walked, eyes followed. Men whispered to each other when she passed. Women tucked their scarves tighter, and children sometimes stopped their games to stare at her. But her beauty was not soft. It carried pride, the kind that drew admiration and envy alike. She walked as though the ground itself was unworthy of her steps. Suitors had come for her many times with baskets of gifts, goats, woven clothes, jars of honey. Each time, Nana had rejected them. Too short, too plain, too poor, too weak. She wanted someone who would set her apart, someone who would prove that her beauty deserved the highest price. And then Dan came. He was taller than most, his shoulders broad, his words smooth like melted butter, his laughter had weight, and when he spoke, people listened. His clothes were always neat, his scent strong, and his presence carried the air of a man who owned everything around him. But Dan was married. Everyone knew Mira, his wife, a quiet woman with kind hands and tired eyes. Mira moved gently, her face carrying the marks of long days of work, her back bent slightly from endless labor. She was no beauty like Nana, and when people compared the two, the whispers always leaned towards Nana. The first time Nana truly noticed Dan was at the market. She had been walking between stalls of fish and grain when she felt eyes on her. She turned, and there he stood, watching her with a look that lingered a little too long. Their eyes locked, and something passed between them, something dangerous. After that, it was as though fate kept pushing them together. She would see him by the stream drawing water. He would appear near the path where she gathered firewood. When Nana walked to the square, Dan would already be there, leaning against a post, smiling slowly as though he had been waiting for her. At first, she pretended not to notice. She turned her head when he stared, quickened her pace when he followed. But soon, her steps began to slow instead of quicken. Her eyes began to linger instead of turning away. Her heart began to race whenever she felt his shadow near. And one evening, under the silver face of the moon, they spoke. "You know you are the most beautiful thing in this world," Dan whispered, his voice low, smooth, meant only for her ears. Nana's lips curved. "And you are a married man." "I am also a man who knows what he wants," he replied. His hands brushed against hers, and though her mind screamed caution, her fingers did not pull away. From that night, the whispers began to grow into fire. People saw the way Dan's eyes lingered on Nana, saw the way she smiled too long when he was near. Mira's silence grew heavier. She said nothing, not even when she saw Dan leaving towards the place where Nana lived, not even when her friends whispered in pity. But silence does not hide truth. Nana, proud as always, told herself that Mira's silence meant weakness, that the marriage was already cracked, that she deserved the better place. She was prettier, younger, more desirable. Why should she not have him? When Dan slipped away to meet her, Nana welcomed him. When he pressed his lips against hers under the shade of tall trees, she leaned in. When he promised her gifts, she took them with eager hands. "I will not remain hidden," she said one evening, her voice sharp though her eyes sparkled with desire. "I will not be your shadow, I will be your wife." Dan laughed softly, pulling her close. "You shall, my beauty." But promises spoken in the night often wither under the day. Nana held on. She told herself that she would break the marriage, step in as second wife, then perhaps the only wife. She dreamed of walking proudly, belly round with his child, her beauty radiant for all to see. Yet at the edge of those dreams, the old woman's word lingered. If you ever get pregnant, you will cry more than the baby. Nana never told anyone about the warning, not her friends, not Dan, not even her own heart when doubt struck her. She buried the words deep, covering them with the sweetness of stolen kisses and the thrill of forbidden love. The first signs were small. Nana felt tired more often, her steps slower, her body heavier. At first, she told herself it was nothing. Perhaps the weather had drained her, or the food had not satisfied her. But then came the morning sickness, then the swelling of her belly. slow at first, then undeniable. She stood before her reflection in the water one morning, pressing her palm against the curve of her stomach. Her lips trembled. Her beauty, once her pride, was shifting, stretching into something unfamiliar. But instead of fear, she smiled. "This is my place," she whispered to herself. "This child will make it so. He will have no choice but to make me his wife." When Nana told Dan, his face changed, his smile faltered, his eyes darted away, his strong shoulders suddenly looked weak. From that day, Dan grew distant. He no longer came to her at night, no longer brought her gifts. His way grew shorter, his visits rarer, until at last he stopped coming altogether. And Nana was left alone, her belly growing heavier, the whispers in the street sharper. The community had already been watching, waiting. Now they had their proof. Women smirked as she passed, their eyes heavy with mockery. Children pointed, laughed, threw stones, singing cruel little song about her shame. Men who once chased her beauty now turned their faces away, muttering, "No one takes a woman who carries another man's child." Mira, silent as always, bore it with quiet dignity. She said nothing, never confronted Nana, never raised her voice, and somehow that silence bonds Nana more than any insult could have. For in it, Nana saw her own defeat. Mira had kept her husband, and she, Nana, was left with nothing but a swelling belly and the scorn of the world. The months dragged on like years. Nana, once admired, now walked with her head bowed, her beauty fading beneath the weariness and shame. Hunger gnawed at her, for few were willing to help. She slept alone, quite alone, and waited for the moment of birth with fear rather than joy. It came on a stormy night. The sky roared, the winds tore through the trees, and rain battered the earth. Nana's pains began with sharpness, stabbing through her like knives. She screamed into darkness, her cries swallowed by the storm. No one came. Hour after hour, she fought alone, her body shaking, sweat pouring down her face. At last, with one final broken cry, the child entered the world. Time moved forward as it always does. The baby grew, his small hands reaching for her, his eyes innocent, unaware of the shame that shadowed them both. Nana walked where she could, fetching water, cleaning, selling scraps in the market. Her body ached, her heart heavier than her arms, but she endured. When men looked at her now, they did not see beauty, they saw burden. A woman with a child, they muttered, is a woman already taken. Many turned away, some mocked her openly, none offered love. Nana raised the child alone. She walked the path with him clinging to her hand, walked through hunger and heat, bore the scorn of those who had once envied her beauty. And though the boy grew strong and bright, no man ever came to share her burden. No one ever called her wife again. In the end, she learned the bitter truth. Beauty fades, love deceives, but choices remain, and hers had carved a path she could never escape.